Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Phyrexis live stream. I'm Pete Murray, joined today by Civilization 6 lead designer Ed Beach. We're here today to show you guys Indonesia, talk about the Khmer, show off a new scenario, and a whole bunch of cool new stuff coming up in the next DLC for Civilization 6. Ed, thanks for coming on today.
I'm absolutely excited to be here. We've got a whole bunch of updates, so many updates I had to organize my notes and make sure we're going to cover everything that we sort of are ready to pack into this hour.
So there's a lot to show off. So we showed off the Khmer yesterday. They're a very cool civilization that have some cool big tall city powers. They also get elephants, which is awesome. Today we're going to show off Indonesia, led by Diagoras, and they are a very cool naval and religion civ. That is pretty neat. You're going to see a lot of the changes that are coming up in the next update, the Fall 2017 update. A lot of stuff having to do with religion on that, and some user interface changes as well too. Should we jump into the game?
Let's jump right in. We've got save set up so we can show all the different things we want to get to.
Okay. All right. So we are starting out playing as Indonesia. And this is the game that you started the other day. So this is...
right. I'll give you a little background on it. It was an island plates map. I wanted to get all the other major naval powers on that island plates map to give Indonesia a good challenge. So England's in here, Norway's in here, so forth. And the one thing that I wanted to also do was put it on Emperor difficulty. That's what I normally play at. And I wanted to... make sure I can found a religion on Emperor difficulty, because that's been sort of a sticking point, is trying to get to a religion. And one thing that Indonesia gets a benefit with is they get faith right out of the gate.
Right, so actually let's go ahead and we'll toggle on tile yield so everybody gets a chance to see that as well too. And this is part of their civilization ability, so that if they build a city next to non-lake coastal tiles, then they get faith for those tiles as well, correct?
Right, they get +2 faith for those city centers that are there. Now, that quickly gets you to a pantheon. Indonesia is great because you sort of are very, very likely to get first choice of pantheons. And the pantheon beliefs, just like every single type of belief, have been boosted with this new patch that's going to be available to everybody. You don't have to necessarily get the new DLC pack to get that. So one of the new pantheons is Earth Goddess.
Right.
And Earth Goddess...
Let's show that off real quick. So we're going to religion here, and we can see we are working on my pantheon, and the pantheon belief is Earth Goddess, which is...
+1 faith from tiles with charming or better appeal.
Okay.
So if you look at the tile yields, we're getting, all those coastal tiles have good appeal. Actually, pretty much everything near our city at the moment has strong appeal. Now, as we build things, build districts, build industrial zones, build mines, some of those tile yields are going to drop. And we're not working all those tiles right now. We have a small population 1 city, so we're only getting 1 faith from it at the moment.
Now, you actually really lucked out with this too, because you actually ended up with a natural wonder right near your starting point. So you have the Lighthouse Fjord, and this is a natural wonder that was included with the Vikings DLC that came out shortly after launch, actually.
Right, and this is like the perfect start for a naval conquest game on an island plates map, because the Lighthouse Fjord sets you up so every naval unit that moves by it gets a free promotion.
Right.
So our plan, Indonesia has this great ability to just build a navy right out of faith. So if we get our faith generation up high, we can go ahead and we can build naval units that way, sail them past Lighthouse Fjord. That can be their special training ground for Indonesian naval maneuvers. And once they've figured out how to navigate through the narrow straits of the fjord, they're going to be great at going out and conquering everybody else.
Now, there was something you said earlier that I want to kind of come back to. So you were talking about establishing religion early on as Indonesia. And there's actually been some changes to the way the AI is pursuing religions now?
Yes. And so... that was what I was saying before, is I want to make sure that I can get a religion on Emperor. So what we have done is we've looked at things, and yes, it was too difficult to get a religion if you really had a civ that needed to on those high difficulties. And what we've done is we've picked about 1/3 of the civilizations in the game and given them what we call a low religious preference. And with the low religious preference, that means it's not a guarantee, but all things being equal, they will not try to found a religion.
Okay.
Now, something might happen. They might start next to a natural wonder. They might uncover a relic in a goody hut. They might, have a great source of faith nearby and say, "Oh, wow, I am well positioned to go for religion. Therefore, this game, I'll change things up and go for it."
Okay.
But in most cases, those 9 leaders, and you're not sure if you set it up with random leaders. Did I get a lot of those guys in my game, or did I get a few of them? So there's still a certain amount of uncertainty. You still have to push for religion, but in the games I've played at, say, Emperor through Deity difficulty, I've always been able to get a religion. Sometimes it's the last one, and sometimes I've had to run the city project, the Holy State Prayers project, a couple of times to make sure I get that religion. But just as long as I've been careful about it and monitor it, it hasn't been like a crazy push where I did throw everything in my civ in that direction in order to get the religion.
Cool. And speaking of cool things, we have a new relic that we can show off for you guys today. And you've actually seen this one in real life, the Gundestrup Cauldron.
Right. It was found in Denmark in a peat bog. The amazing thing is it's really well preserved. I went to the Danish History Museum in Copenhagen last summer. They have this on display for you to see there, the actual one. I think there are replicas of it in other museums around the world, but that's the actual where the real one is. It's actually not a Viking or Danish creation. They think it was created out of silver down in the Balkans somewhere, maybe Thracian. But it's just a really cool thing that you can actually go see right on display in real life. So I was just amazed when I started playing this game, and that was the relic that popped up. It's one of the 8 new relics we added with this patch.
Cool. So let's go ahead and we will take our galley and we'll explore out a little bit.
Behold the wonders of the heavens and earth.
And online, people have found out that we added one world wonder to the game, Angkor Wat, but we have also added a natural wonder, which is Ha Long Bay, just amazingly gorgeous place along the coastline of Vietnam. There were some naval battles fought in Ha Long Bay, and in Ha Long Bay there were some actually amazingly well-played defensive naval engagements. So it's actually a natural wonder that besides giving you some yield benefits, it's a great place to park your navy as sort of like a water defensive choke point.
Yeah, it's pretty fantastic, and it has some good yields on it too. So again, that's if you've got access to that, that must be pretty cool.
Okay, and then last thing I want to talk about is where we're going to put our holy site in our city. So if we go back to our capital city, let's pop open the build queue.
Okay, so we go. All right.
And we were going to try to place a holy site so we see the placement lens.
Okay.
And so let's go ahead and look at the different bonuses that we're getting here. Now, one of Indonesia's buffs is that they get a minor adjacency bonus for being near water.
Right.
So, like if you look down to the southwest of Majapahit, you can see the little icons popping up, those little blue hexagons. Those are showing that we're getting an adjacency from water. That's a new type of adjacency bonus that you can get. And that's going to be great. In general, you can see that because either lakes or coastlines, pretty much all of our tiles in our empire are getting some type of adjacency bonus. But in this particular case, we're going to want that holy site right up next to the natural wonder.
Right, for the +4 on that.
Right. So you can actually, I think, we're building a settler now, but I think we're actually going to jump ahead to the next save before we go too far into this one. So we don't actually really have to play this, but that's where you will see in the next save that we have chosen for our holy site location.
Okay, so we're going to take a moment and we're going to jump back to the studio real quick while we set up our next save. And there was a question in there earlier. Somebody had asked if we had changed the colors for Indonesia. I think that was a very astute observation. On the first look, they were blue background and red icon on it, and we flipped that because otherwise it was exactly the same as
Norway. So the first lookers came up with the same problem that our QA group did, and so we have switched that since then.
Although, if you do see blue and red, you're going to get invaded by the ocean. That's just a thing that is going to happen, and you may as well get used to that. So, all right, so we are going to come back in, and then that was turn 30. Now we're almost at turn 60, and we've got you settled the second city, Badung, here, so it has access to both these, the dye and the tobacco down here. And then this is actually, once we get up and going with navigation, this is going to be fantastic because we're going to be able to take very significant advantage of the kampong, which is Indonesia's unique tile improvement that they can build. So why don't you explain that one a little bit?
Right. So if you look at our cities, outside Badung, we have several fish resources.
Yeah.
Outside our capital is filled with crabs. And any tile that's adjacent to a naval-based resource can get a kampong.
Right.
Kampongs give you food, they give you production, they give you housing. Late in the game, they can even give you tourism.
Yes.
They're pretty awesome. And it just allows the Indonesian cities basically to be built on stilts right out onto the water. And they do not even have to be tiles that are adjacent to land.
Right.
So that's my favorite move, is you can see some right where your cursor is out there with the crabs.
Yeah.
A bunch of those shallow water tiles are adjacent to crabs and still within 3 of the city.
Right. So you got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think
Just
this
count
is
up-
shallow
count
too,
up the
so,
housing.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
just-
it's gonna. Oh no, it isn't. Yeah, it's going to be huge to build out there. So you've got our shrine constructed at our holy site as well too, and we can show off some of the changes for the UI for the religious units. And there's a whole bunch of changes with religion and with religious units coming in the fall 2017 update, and that'll come to everybody regardless of whether or not you're picking up the Indonesian Khmer DLC. But the big one is that now the religious units have their own icon shape. It's got the little horns from the faith icon, and there's also an icon that shows what religion they're attached to. But more importantly, they're on their own layer now.
Right. And so we'll actually show them being on their own layer in the next save, because right now we're just in the middle of our own empire, and this is only our first religious unit.
Right.
But they move entirely on a different layer of the map from everything else. So it's very much like trade units, where trade units are on their own layers. Spies also work that same way. So what we've done is we've gone and the 4 different types of religious units you can have in the game: the missionaries, apostles, inquisitors, and our new unit, the gurus. They all move on their own layer. They interact with each other with exerting zone of control to block them, so you can set up a religious perimeter around your nation if you need to. But they can just go right through boats. They can go right through land units. We've also tweaked the AI a little bit, so the AI is not, it's a little bit more careful with its tactical placement of the religious units. You don't end up with the large clumps running across the map that you do more. It's basically come up with some more strategic ideas as to how it wants to use it. Although it will still have clumps of units, because the way the guru should be used is as a religious support unit to heal your other religious units.
And let's show off the new religion lens. So there are some user interface changes for that as well too. And we'll also show this off later on when we show off the scenario, because that will be key on that. But for example, you can see the pressure wave coming off the city.
And that is a very dense pressure wave, because that is the holy city for our Hindu religion. So we founded it there. That's the thickest you'll see those waves emanating. If we click on the row underneath the city banner, you can get a detailed breakdown. It's when you have multiple religions hitting a city. You can see on the left-hand side, it's the pressure coming into, well, it's actually the number of citizens following the religion, then the pressure per turn, and the pressure being radiated.
Right.
And then you can kind of have a pie chart type display showing how the citizens are breaking down. So we'll look at a lot of these, especially as we get to the religious scenario, because that's sort of very pivotal to the gameplay. But you have a lot more information than you used to in terms of figuring out how religion's spreading, when it's about to flip somewhere. The religion lens animates around the city, and you can see, hey, it's about to flip in the next 5 turns.
Yep. And you will get a notice about that too. And then one of the cool parts about Indonesia is that they can actually purchase naval units with faith, which is very, very cool, and that's kind of at a discount. And also, actually, I'm jumping ahead of myself. Let's open up the religion panel so we can see you have founded Hinduism, and you have some of the cool new religion abilities in as well too.
Right. So we said we have 2 new beliefs of each type in the game. So there are 5 different types of beliefs. So we added 10 new beliefs total.
Okay.
These are all probably on the strong end in terms of the beliefs of their category. They're meant to sort of buff up religion as a whole, as something you want to get into, because we've added stronger types of beliefs. And the ones we're going to show here, the warrior monks, they're just an awesome medieval combat unit.
Yes.
With their own promotion tree, which very much like the recon tree, has some promotions in it that just massively boost their combat strength.
Right.
So that they can go and sort of stay relevant all the way up through industrial modern eras. As long as you keep investing in your cadre of warrior monks, you can get them so that they can hide in the shadows, they can still be strong, they can do extra strong flank attacks. Those kind of things are all available to them. Normally I would not pick warrior monks with Indonesia because you kind of want to pick one thing to invest all your faith into. We're in great shape with the relic and with the natural wonder nearby. We're producing a lot of faith right now. But on the other hand, I kind of want to probably plow my faith just into my navy in this type of game. But for the live stream, it was just so cool to show off the warrior monks. We went ahead and got that belief anyways.
Sounds good. And the Dar Emer is actually a Zoroastrian fire temple. And what's cool about this is you were telling me that the holiness of the site is based on how long the flame has been active in it, and that's reflected in the game.
Right. There's a remarkably few Zoroastrian fire temples in the world today, and there are only a few of them that have flames that are really, truly ancient.
Right.
But the holiest of those have flames that are like 500, 800 years old. And so what we do is the faith output of the fire temple is basically represented in the game by how old the flame is there. And if it ever gets pillaged,
it resets.
It resets. You got to start over building back up the faith. But as long as you can keep your fire temple unpillaged, that means that flame has been burning there for that length of time, and therefore the faith output of those things by the time you get to the end of the game can be, very, very strong compared to the other religious worship buildings.
Cool. All right, so before we jump into our next save, and that's when we'll start progressing the game forward, there's one last thing we want to show off. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to keep exploring near the seas near Kabul, which is something that nobody has ever said in this timeline. We'll keep sending our galleys out. Choose some research.
And we built 2 galleys so we could get the shipbuilding tech, because that unlocks the kampong, and we're going to show the kampong off in the next save.
Correct. So there's Jayavarman VII, the leader of the Khmer. I really like his model and the animation that they've done with him, so he's very cool as well too. And he's over on the other side of the world. Somebody has asked if I can show Halong Bay. I can, but unfortunately it's in mid-fog right now, and if I were to take a unit over there, you'd only see
we showed it previously,
yeah.
So maybe we'll get back to it in the next save.
Yeah. All right, so that is kind of this mid-game, and so we're going to come back to the studio again for a minute. I'm going to pass this over to Ed so Ed can play our advanced game, and we'll take you guys farther in the future. Now, this was only 16 turns later, I think you said, and you managed to get a whole bunch of interesting stuff going on.
Right, and this game we actually are going to play forward. We're going to try to get our warrior monks into action and get them some combat practice so we can look at what their promotion tree looks like. We're also going to create some of those kampongs outside our capital city so that we can go ahead and show off how a truly Indonesian city is built.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so this is a total rookie move here. On autopilot, I saw, my city is running out of housing. See, I only have 2 slots left. I'll build a granary.
Yeah,
No.
You don't need to do that.
That's not how you play Indonesia at all. So the correct move there is you just create another builder. Since we're getting near our housing cap, I will emphasize production, which will drop down our food. It'll just make, we'll get our builder out in 5 turns.
Okay.
Now the other thing that we've done a great job in here is we are cranking on faith. We are doing 34 faith a turn.
Yes.
Between our relic, between the holy site that we have up here next to the natural wonder. Let's also look at our new city. We have the Great Lighthouse, under construction at the moment.
Again, a very useful wonder if you're playing as Indonesia.
Yeah, I had originally thought about putting a holy site right here at the end of this rocky peninsula. It just looks like the coolest place ever to have a holy site. And you're going to get +2 adjacency bonus as Indonesia out there. But then I realized, hey, naval game, island plates map, I'm playing as Indonesia, I really need a great lighthouse.
Okay.
So I diverted it, and we'll get back to building the holy site here. But since we have such good faith output, one thing we're going to have to do is figure out how we're going to create our army of warrior monks. And luckily, warrior monks only cost 130 faith here on quick speed.
A bargain at twice the price.
Yes, and warrior monks are kind of cool. They're the only land unit that gets created out at the holy site when
Correct.
you buy one. There is also just a little bit of a religion embedded in them. They know what religion founded them.
Okay.
And they have a promotion where if they win a regular land combat, and if you have that promotion, then they can actually spread their religion to all adjacent cities, just like you won a theological combat.
Oh, that's cool.
So that's why they need to remember what religion they were created from.
Can you zoom in on them? Somebody had asked if we can see
Yeah,
them.
and we're going to...
So yeah, they've got
next
staves
turn, we'll go ahead. These are the Indonesian ones.
Okay.
The color tinting and some of the other ethnic things do vary, just like most of our units do. But that's what the Indonesian warrior monk variant looks like. So I'm going to take the next few turns quickly, and one of the things that I'm going to do in these next few turns, we're going to, we just built this. We actually didn't build this quadrireme. I bought it with faith.
Okay.
Just to give a little bit more about what's going on in the world is
Australia doesn't like
Australia is our probably nearest neighbor down here.
Right.
And they actually did, even though he doesn't have that trait that makes him want to go after a religion, there must be something. He must have found a natural wonder, hit on a relic, something. Something triggered him to go after a religion. And so when I was in this game and sort of scrambling to get a religion, that sort of threw me off because I was one more religion than I was expecting.
Yeah, I have to face up against.
So they are Islamic, and they're sort of our rivals across Halong Bay from where we are. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and move this quadrireme down towards Halong Bay so we can get a better look at that again.
That will be nice, thank you.
This peninsula down here, right across the straits, is unoccupied. So that's probably naturally, if I was playing the game normally, that's where I would want to make my next move and go ahead and settle there.
There's even a goody hut down there.
Yeah, there's a goody hut that hasn't been claimed. But what I'm going to do instead is with my warrior monks, I know that this long, skinny peninsula here is covered with barbarians.
Okay.
And that has now become the warrior monk training ground.
You're going to send them out
And
there.
so we're going to send a raft of warrior monks over there and sort of, see what warrior monks look like in combat.
I saw that movie. It was really good.
Okay, and let's see what they look like moving. We'll just move them down to our city.
Put them on the field just so we can see them
Okay.
a little bit clean. And then we'll move them out to the water.
We have,
We have quick movement on.
yeah, so we'll have to do that with the next one.
That's all right. Just all right.
And I think it's quicker.
Okay. Disabled. There you go. So these warrior monks don't replace anything. This is a follower belief that you can pick up for your religion that's being
Right, and so it's actually interesting. If you have faith generation in your empire, even if you didn't start the religion that has warrior monks in them, warrior monks can come to you.
Yes.
So if that religion spreads over your city, all of a sudden warrior monks are unlocked for you, you'll see that that's something you can do with your faith.
Let's go check out Halong Bay. That really is gorgeous. Zoom in on it. There you go. That's neat. I would like to go there at some point.
Okay, and this guy here is pretty far from anything. I'm just going to send him back home.
Okay.
So we'll just give him a couple turns.
7 turns of
Yeah,
movement.
so we won't have to worry about him. Now this particular unit, I am going to have him support our anti-barbarian training exercises.
That sounds good.
So we will go ahead and get him headed back towards that island. And now that this guy's in Halong Bay, he can just stay still. So we just got denounced.
Yay.
by Harald. He just plain doesn't like us. So I figure that this is probably because we stole his colors.
It seems pretty reasonable.
Yeah,
It seems
so,
pretty
I
reasonable.
mean, we were trying to be good. We took the red and blue rather than the blue and red.
But he's
evidently,
not a reasonable fellow.
Yeah, that still has cheesed him off, so.
And Spain's expanding, so that's going to be interesting. You want to go ahead and just sleep. All right, so
We'll march our warrior monks once again.
yeah, they're pretty cool.
And then let's actually, they go out to sea faster if you can go over a harbor, so let's get the archer out of the way. And then we can embark our warrior monks for their journey across the sea here.
So while Ed is moving that around, looks like you're gonna have to go around non-monolith.
I'm gonna go ahead and real quick make a open borders deal.
This is an example of the new UI as well. The diplomacy AI has changed, or the diplomacy UI has changed as well. So we'll show that for just a second.
Yeah, we spread this out. There's a little bit more room. You've got plenty of space to see all the information. It's not as cramped and compressed as it was before.
And we had a couple of people asking about patch notes. Full patch notes will be posted soon. They usually go up live right about the same time that we start getting the update ready to roll out for everyone. Oh, he's a great admiral too.
Yeah, now Australia, I tried playing this game a different way without the warrior monk training exercise. I tried to invest all my faith into my navy. And I found sort of I had a rude awakening that the AI has gotten much stronger at the naval game.
Yeah.
They have teched up, and most of the powers in the game have caravels, which means even the barbarians are running around with caravels right now.
It's going to make the ocean a little
And
dangerous
so
for you.
I found that, yes, the faith generation of a navy is great. I could catch up back up on the navy very, very quickly, but I needed some tech to catch up with them. So what I would do if I was playing this game for real is I would go ahead and get to my unique unit, the Jong, and once I had enough of them in my navy, then I would go and start to seriously send waves of naval units after those Australians.
So there's a little bit of confusion. People are asking if they need to buy Indonesia to get the updates. No, the religion update with the UI changes for that, the new religious promotions, things like the warrior monks and the Dari Mer are all coming as part of the fall 2017 update. Indonesia and Khmer are going to be DLC civilizations.
Right.
This lighthouse is the sign shore of all eyes.
That's very cool. All right, good. Keep going.
All right, we're going to move faster at sea. That's going to be very helpful.
Yes, it will. You want to get those.
Okay, and let's go ahead and put that holy site down where I had planned. I could also put a campus out here and get extra science. That might actually be a smarter move, but I really want to push the faith here so they can build a large navy that way.
Yeah, you want to move those monks out to sea as well too.
Yeah, while Pete was giving the info on the DLC, I did buy another group of warrior monks. It's a flat cost. It doesn't go up as you buy more and more of them, like some of the other units in the game. So you can sort of plow just a steady investment of faith into warrior monks. And like we're getting them every 3 turns right now. So you can build quite an army of them very quickly this way. And our builder will finish next turn, which will let us start putting down the kampungs.
Which will be super helpful.
Okay, and we're working on cartography right now, and we're going to actually need that to get across to the island we're headed for.
If you keep sailing north.
Nope, I've explored this map a couple times. not in this game, but in like parallel universe games.
It's as if he had prior knowledge of this. Yes, if you purchased the digital deluxe version of the game, you will receive this DLC when it comes out. Since people are asking about that as well too.
Okay, now this is a good example of why I know that the AI is doing so well on naval construction, because the way Harald's agenda works is he ranks all the civs in terms of naval power.
Right, right.
And the only ones that he sort of disses here are the ones who are in like the bottom half of strength naval power wise.
And he's done that since the launch of the game.
Right.
But now he's calling you out.
So he's calling us out. Even though we're Indonesian naval power, we just haven't been keeping up with sort of the focus on naval strategies that the AI now has on these naval maps. And like I was saying, there are barbarian caravels, and it just hit one of our units there.
Yeah. So we'll get those monks out and start clearing the barbarians. There's our builder. Let's go ahead and you had a.
Well,
are you going to go ahead and buy?
I'm
tile?
going to buy the tile because I just love seeing what the compounds look like when they're sort of out at sea in the shallow coast water. So we'll build there next turn.
Can you make warrior, monk, corps, and armies?
You can, and that's like.
That's awesome.
Yes, because they are relevant in that part of the game. There's no upgrade for them, but if you use the promotions, you can make them relevant. And yes, you absolutely can turn them into corps and armies.
I love it.
Okay, here's where our guy is suffering at the hands of the barbarian.
You know what? You know what's a really great tactic that I enjoy?
We'll just
running away. So we'll show off the warrior monk promotion
That's actually
tree.
exactly where we're headed in the game, is trying to get the warrior monks over to their training ground so we can show off the promotion tree.
Yep.
And let's see what this island looks like. We'll see it more next turn, but I promised you a good training ground full of barbarians, and we will get that.
Did you actually sunk that caravel?
Yeah, and the reason we did that is we're still running with the policy card that gives us +8 combat strength against barbarians, so we managed to. That was,
And boy, you pulled that
lucky.
one. All right,
Okay.
go ahead and build that compound. That's so great.
So let's go and zoom in on what that looks
So
like.
you can see the worker is there, kind of parked in the middle of it, but you can see that's that tile.
Here are
movement.
still houses, food, production, gold. I think it's the production that goes up as you get further into the game, and you get tourism as well.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and open up the Civilopedia page for that real quickly.
All right.
So it's extra production with civil engineering.
Yep. Very cool.
Okay. All right. Okay, here's our barely alive galley, but now that he has defeated a barbarian caravel, I'm going to try to sail him home just because that was quite a win by him.
Yeah, that was something else.
Okay.
Sail it up towards that camp, and we'll see if we can. Oh, good.
Yes.
Oh, good.
Plenty of barbarians for the warrior monks to train on.
Yeah. Try to snatch the pebble from my hand. So you've got 3 more turns on them. I thought for sure that went through.
And we started building a Darimir. Actually, let's look at the religion lens a little bit more now that we loaded into a later save.
Yes.
So we can see some things like, so you see the very heavy pressure waves coming out of Majapahit. But Badung, where we don't even have a holy site, has sort of the slowest pressure waves.
Right.
There's 3 levels of those. Once the holy site is completed, it'll become
stronger. Right.
Yeah.
Go over to
you
Muscat.
can see going into it, the pressure waves both from our capital and from Muscat, which we have converted. You actually can even see the Hindu symbol built into the tile.
Yeah, jump over to Muscat because that shows off something interesting, which is if nothing changes, this will convert to Islam in 325 turns. So it tells you you're losing the pressure fight.
And if you want the details on that, you can open this up. You can see that we're doing 3.4 pressure per turn. They're doing 5.9.
Yes.
So that's why we're losing the pressure fight.
Yep.
But you can see that we have, the majority. They're just starting to develop a presence there.
Okay.
So at the moment, that's not something we have to worry about imminently. You can actually even find out some things about other civs in the game you may not be able to see. For instance, you see pressure coming in from here. You know that there's some kind of city down there.
Right.
There's all sorts of interesting information you can discern from.
Suss out from it if
Yeah.
you're so inclined.
Okay, so to finish our turn,
You want to just sleep that missionary because we're not gonna.
we're not going to do anything with him
Yeah.
imminently.
Spain is trading with the Khmer.
All right, so
Put some more compound down.
Yep.
Do it. Do it.
And with all this housing we're getting, we can go ahead and change our focus in our city
Back to
a normal.
yep. Kind of a balanced.
Yep. And the Dari Mare under construction, we can look at that up close.
That's pretty cool.
It's even cooler, especially at night when it's fully built. You can see the fire burning inside.
Yep.
So people will definitely want to try those out and make sure that they get to that animation.
2 more turns and then we'll start pummeling.
Okay, and I'm just gonna put him on alert so he can stay, and we'll try to sail this guy back in one big
I don't
move.
think the Australians are gonna let you. Oh no, no.
Well, we're not at war with them, so.
They just don't like you. Completely different. Oh man. Yeah, I can see why picking a fight with them would have been bad.
Yeah, it was not good.
Invincibility lies in the defense.
All right, finish the civic. We'll just go ahead, get going on naval tradition. Build
Do
a
religious
third
unit
compound.
instantly die to combat units when at war? You can kind of like pillage.
Okay, no, yes, that's what we should talk about. Because they're on a separate layer, they work very much like trade units do.
Yeah.
So we had to, there's the pillage or plunder, I think plunder trade route action is what military units use to disrupt trade routes.
Right.
So we have a new action for military units to take to disrupt missionaries and other religious units moving around. So that we call that condemn heretic.
Nice.
And it has
Get
the
rid of this
same
heretic.
effect that losing a religious combat does, where your pressure drops in the nearby cities. But you actually have to be stacked in the same tile, and you have to spend an action in order to
If
do it.
your actions inspire
Okay,
others
so we
to
have
dream,
finished cartography.
Yep.
Our warrior monks are ready to sail to their training ground. And we need to pick some new research.
Masonry.
Yeah, probably is the smartest choice, but
I hear walls are all the rage these days.
and you can see we almost have enough faith for 2 more warrior monks. So if we had kept cranking them out, we would still be doing them every 3 turns. But I think two of them should be enough to demonstrate what they look like in combat.
And the good part is when we do get that second holy site up and get a shrine built on it, you could always buy the Dari Mare with the faith too, if you
Right.
wanted to.
Right.
Oh, and next turn we'll be able to send the monks ashore and start kicking butt.
Yes. And we have to decide where we want to do that. Well,
Just
maybe wherever.
That's good there.
It's a little dangerous. If this guy moves south, I'm not sure I want to stick my neck out in the middle of 3 of them. But going onto this hill would be a great place to go.
Oh, see.
Oh yeah, they gave us
when
2 hills to
wasteful
jump
war
onto.
shall
Perfect.
statue.
All right.
Okay.
Oh, and
the
yeah,
new
thing to
trade
show off.
screen. One other thing that was added for religion is we added religious pressure to trade routes.
Yes.
So that's back from Civ 5. You see exactly how much pressure is exerted. You exert some pressure one way, and it's stronger from the originating city, but you also accept some pressure back, half as much from the other city that you're going to. So we'll send a trade route to Angkor Wat.
Yep. You guys like Hinduism? I'm going to send you some Hinduism. Okay. You get an
Envoy, I'll skip for now. Stack those up.
Okay.
Oh, our victorious galley is almost home.
Limping home. All right.
All right, so jump onto hill and hill. Give us. Oh no, we're going to
so
go into zone of
patient.
control there because of the cliffs.
Yeah.
And that's another trade route.
Okay. Hopefully we'll be able to get a couple turns of combat in.
Yeah, I noticed he has the money grubber
Yeah.
So again, he's ranking us against the other civs in the game, and we're not stacking up in terms of income. Our income's not bad, but
Okay, so there's your monks defending themselves.
yes.
They're only armed with staves. How strong can they be?
Whop. There go 3 warriors.
Yeah.
Oh, the spearmen are coming though. This is going to be tough.
Yeah.
All right, they're defeated as well. So in 3 battles, did we get enough experience to level ourselves up? Not quite sure we got enough yet.
Okay.
Look, our holy site looks nice out there on the
Yeah, it does.
peninsula, doesn't it? We're going to need a shrine for that.
Okay.
And, oh, very close to promoted. So,
All right.
let's...
Can you take the spearman? You should be able to take the spearman. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Pete's being bold. He wants to take the spearman in the camp. And we've got it.
Receive enlightenment.
Backup warrior monkey on it. Also.
I see they like to chew. Perhaps they would like to chew on my fist.
Yeah, there's... Okay, and this is great. This is an example of Giant Varmin's agenda.
Right.
He likes to see that most of your cities have holy sites in them, and most of them are high population.
Right.
So since we only have 2 cities,
Yes.
and they both have holy sites, and we've sort of been investing in those cities, we've given them plenty of housing and so forth, we're following his agenda precisely. Mm-hmm. So we just got the kudos message from him.
Which is very nice.
And Victoria has an agenda that she wants all the great people.
Well, that's
And
fine.
we have only gotten a great profit, so.
That's all right. Everybody likes us better. So let's go ahead and we'll show off the warrior monk promotions.
Assuming we survive, but I think our warrior
I
monks
don't
are up
think
to
we
the
have
task.
anything to worry about. Exactly.
Maybe we'll get promotions for both of them.
I don't know that we're going to get promotions for everyone.
Okay,
I'm gonna heal up.
now, yeah, and we actually want to upgrade this to a caravel.
There you go. All right, promotion.
Okay, so warrior monk promotion tree. So it has 7 different promotions that you can get.
Yep.
The combat strength ones are both at the end of the tree with Cobra Strike, and there's also Exploding Palms here.
Yep.
And most of these cross over, so if we get Twilight Veil, we can go over to Exploding Palms if we want to, vice versa, you can do Shadow Strike to Disciples.
Yep.
Disciples is the one I was talking about before, where you can get a religious spread out of it. You can get extra movement for them, you can get extra attacks for them, so they can become quite an impressive little force.
Yes, they can.
You do have to invest in the belief, or have the belief come to you, and you have to have the faith to purchase them. But you can get quite a few of them, cranked out for your army. And if the promotions are bought carefully, you can do quite a nice job surprising your enemy and hitting them with some devastating blows with your warrior monks.
Exactly.
And yes, go ahead and upgrade them into corps and armies if you want.
I would love to see that. Somebody please post a picture of that when this comes out. I would love to see that. All right, so let's go ahead and we're going to jump back to the studio one more time, and we're going to show off the scenario that's coming out with this DLC. Now, this scenario is called Paths to Nirvana, and the cool part is this is a scenario that's basically based all around the changes for religion that are coming out as well, too.
This, sort of like Outback Tycoon, this scenario has no military units. It has 90% of its units are all religious units.
Yes.
You do have some builders and trade units as well.
Right.
But pretty much it is all about going into Southeast Asia.
All of Asia. I mean, from Central Asia all
Yeah,
the way
that's
down
true.
to...
That's true.
Yeah.
The Islamic religion starts over sort of on the eastern edge of the Persian Empire. So why don't you show off the map a little bit to begin with?
So let's. It's a little hard to see what's going on here, but what we've got is we've got Asia from kind of the Central Asia area down through the Indian subcontinent. You can see Sri Lanka there, over to Indonesia, Borneo. Some of the Philippine Islands are represented schematically over here as well too. Australia is not quite visible because we don't know about it yet because we haven't discovered it. And we've got China, but you play as a combination of a kind of a faction and a religion. And in this one, this is my game from earlier this week. I was playing as the Chola Empire. And my religion was I had Vajrayana Buddhism, and this is the Buddhism that's associated with, for example, Tibetan Buddhism. And the reason I picked them is because they are OP. You start out in the Himalayas right here with the city of Lhasa, and you're actually well protected by these choke points that are going on here. So I'll show you kind of historically how things
go show them
developed.
Mount Everest.
Oh
first
yeah,
of all.
right. So we got
Mount Everest is front and center here.
Yep, right here in the middle of the
And
screen.
if you click on a religious unit, you'll see
Priests.
all the faith yields coming out of the holy sites next to Mount Everest.
Right, so 22 coming out of that one, 18 out of that one, 15 out of this one. So what I would have been doing over the course of the game is I have been aggressively expanding into China to replace Taoism, which is their base, their religion that they're spreading, and I'm actually doing pretty well. Came to Chengdu, I got pushed back, but I came back with monks and gurus and have been aggressively pushing my religion out. And here you can actually see what it looks like when you've got multiple religions pinging in on a city. So over the course of this, I'm going to end up replacing Taoism in China with Vajrayana Buddhism, which is pretty cool. We can see.
Yeah, look at Dali, just in
Yeah.
terms of the number of religious pressure points hitting it. You
Yeah.
can see it from all the different directions, all the different religions hitting it. I think you should probably open up the world overview just to get an idea of some of the special rules for the scenario. People can see that.
Yep.
If you go to the score screen, you can see who the players are. And so we have 7 different religions all being represented here.
Right.
It is available in multiplayer.
Yes.
We have played this 7-player multiplayer.
Yes.
With the design office and the QA office all going at it in massive religious combat battle.
It's pretty serious.
It's a 50-turn game, but it probably takes a good 3 hours to play through it.
Especially if you're playing against Carl. No, but if you're going to play it, and I highly recommend you check it out, play as the Tufan. It's really easy. So what you do is you kind of set up these choke points in the mountains. Priests are defensive units. If you leave them in their territory, they're very strong and hard to kill in religious combat. And then you can do things like park them on your own holy sites, and they're almost impossible to remove. So this guy's been parked here almost since the beginning of the game, and he's been keeping basically Islam and the Mahayana Buddhism from coming in this way. And now what I'm doing is I'm coming out of the mountains and spreading down into
I don't
lower
think you
India
can
as
win
well,
just
too.
by being in the Himalayas. You have to spread your
you-
faith out as well.
You do, but it does give you
Now
some...
the priests are sort of the equivalent to the Inquisitors in the base game, so they are your defensive units that keep your religion pure in your homeland.
Right.
We have the monks, which are the show them what the monk symbol looks like.
So
it's
here's the
the
monk
same
symbol.
symbol as the warrior monk, but
Yeah.
in this particular scenario, we've used the same unit model, but it's been recast as a religious unit for the scenario.
Yes.
So it's sort of like your apostle from the base game.
And they have some cool promotions as well, too.
Right.
So,
Every single religious unit in this scenario has its unique promotion tree.
right.
It's actually a small tree, unlike the apostles in the base game, where it's sort of like a flat random list.
Right.
So there's a lot of different strategies you can come up with on how you want to play the rock, paper, scissors game with the different religious units. The religious unit, the guru, which I think you have one right there.
Yeah.
They are your healer. Why don't you mouse over a couple of their promotions and we can...
I have been. I've been kind of showing
Okay.
them off. I've been using these guys as medics primarily. You can also use them to increase the speed of adjacent units at the start of the turn. The monks have 2 basic classes of promotion. The one that kind of triples their religious spread and gives them bonuses in theological combat. But basically, make sure you're taking both sets of promotions and kind of grouping them together. Clusters of monks backed up by gurus. Can't go
Right.
wrong.
And the gurus can act either sort of as religious great generals with its promotions in this area, or they can act as healers.
Yep.
So they have quite a bit of utility. The other cool thing to talk about is, why don't you go down to show the Chola Empire?
Oh, yeah.
And the Chola are a trading power at this time, and they sort of controlled both sides of the Bay of Bengal.
Right.
So they start with more harbors and commercial hubs than anyone else, so they have more trade units, and they also can quickly create buildings in those districts using faith.
Yes.
So every religion in here has a unique set of beliefs that differentiates it. That's sort of what differentiates the Chola. And why trade units are so important in here is if you open up the city-state panel, we can see we have, I think it's like 26, 29. There's just an enormous
It's a huge number of
list
city-states.
of city-states here in Southeast Asia. And each city-state starts with a trade route quest for you.
Correct.
So every trade route unit you bring can get you an envoy real quickly. And the way the envoy game and the city-states work is super interesting in this game because every envoy you send is an immediate drop of 300 religious pressure. And so you can actually convert cities by sending envoys to them. You can convert cities by sending trade routes to them.
That's how I converted Xinjiang up here. I got Gaochang.
Yeah, so if you're playing this on the highest difficulty, your very first move, you have a couple trade routes to send out, you have a couple envoys to send out, and it's a very intricate positional game as to which city-states you want to strike for. Because as soon as you get those city-states, they start radiating your religious pressure, and you can start to surround pockets of enemy religion and go ahead and then send your units in to wipe those out.
Yeah.
So there's quite a bit of depth to this religious game. It's sort of like Outback Tycoon was to examine the economic side of the game. This does that. It's a great sandbox for all the new religious features that we have in the DLC.
Yeah, definitely worth checking out for the religion side as well.
And the other thing I think we can say is that this same map, which is the Southeast Asia map,
Yes.
we are shipping that
Oh,
with this
very nice.
patch for people.
Okay.
So look forward to seeing that as well.
Quick question. What is Diagoras' agenda?
Okay, Gatarja's agenda is that she likes to control all the small land masses, basically the islands in the game. So she goes and she looks at everybody and says, your cities are on a large continent. I'm fine with you, no problem.
Guess who owns all the islands?
Yes, but if you start, horning in on her island game, that's when she gets
cross.
angry at you.
Cool. So that's the content that's going to be coming out in the next DLC and the next update for fall 2017. That is Indonesia and Khmer as new civilizations. We've shown off a bunch of the religion updates. That'll be in the fall 2017 update, and everybody will get who owns Civ 6 will have that as well too. If you purchase the digital deluxe version of Civilization 6, you will get the Khmer in Indonesia, so we hope you guys enjoy them as well too. So thank you very much for tuning into our stream today. Stay tuned to social media and the web and other places for when we have announcements about when it will be available and complete patch notes. So on behalf of the team and Ed and I, thanks for watching and have a great day.